Hello and welcome to another episode of today's GK. Let's begin with the practice question. Which of the following equation is correct? This was our last day's practice question. The correct answer is option A. Moving on, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation to release the provisional estimates of GDP for the last financial year 21-22. Provisional estimates is the first formal estimate of how India grew in the full financial year 21-22. For any financial year, the two main variables of national income are GDP and GVA or gross value added. While both the variables measure national income, they are linked as follows. GDP is equals to GVA plus taxes earned by the government minus subsidies provided by the government. Moving on. The theme for World No Tobacco Day 2022 is Tobacco, Threat to Our Environment. Option A is correct. Every year on 31st May, the World Health Organization and global partners celebrate World No Tobacco Day. Tobacco kills over 8 million people every year. It also destroys our environment, further harming human health through the cultivation, production, distribution, consumption and post-consumer waste. The theme for World No Tobacco Day 2022 is Tobacco, Threat to Our Environment. Moving on. With reference to PM CARES Fund, consider the following statements. It's a statutory fund with the Prime Minister as its chairman, and contribution to it doesn't qualify for corporate social responsibility expenditure. We have to select the correct statement or statements. Both are incorrect. D is the correct answer. The PM recently released benefits under the PM CARES for Children scheme that supports those who lost their parents during the COVID-19 pandemic. The PM CARES stand for Prime Minister Citizens Assistance and Relief in Emergency Situations Fund. The government set up PM CARES Fund to deal with any emergency or distress situation like the one posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. It's a public charitable trust with the Prime Minister as its chairman. Other members also include Defence Minister, Home Minister and Finance Minister. The fund enables micro donations, as a result of which a large number of people will be able to contribute with the smallest of denomination. It will strengthen disaster management capacities and encourage research in protecting citizens. Contributions to it qualify as the CSR or Corporate Social Responsibility expenditure. Moving on. Which of the following countries is India's biggest trading partner? The answer is USA. The US surpassed China to become India's top trading partner in 21-22, reflecting strengthening economic ties between the two countries. Trade experts believe that the trend of increasing bilateral trade with the US will continue in the coming years also, as New Delhi and Washington are engaged in further strengthening the economic ties. India has joined a US-led initiative to set up an Indo-Pacific economic framework, and this move would help boost economic ties further. Moving on. The Asia Pacific Institute for Broadcasting Development was established in 1977 under the auspices of United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization. B is the correct answer. Union Information and Broadcasting Minister at the 17th Asia Media Summit applauded the Indian media for its role during the COVID-19 pandemic. Asia Media Summit is the annual conference organized by AIBD. The Asia Pacific Institute for Broadcasting Development was established in 1977 under the auspices of UNESCO. Moving on. Which of the following colonial powers were the last to leave India? The correct answer is Portuguese. On the Statehood Day of Goa, the Prime Minister greeted the people of the state. Goa is located on the southwestern coast of India within the region known as Konkan and geographically separated from the Deccan Highlands by the Western Ghats. The official language of Goa is Konkani, which is one of the 22 languages of the 8th schedule. As India gained independence on 15th August 1947, it requested the Portuguese to cede their territories. However, they refused. In 1961, Indian government launched Operation Vijay and annexed Daman and Diu Islands and Goa with the Indian mainland. It can be noted that the Portuguese were the first Europeans to come to India in 1498 and were also the last to leave India in 1961. Moving on. Consider the following statements about red sandals. We have to select the correct statement or statements. They are endemic to the Western Ghats. They fall under critically endangered list of the IUCN. None are correct. D is the correct answer. DRI seizes red sandals worth rupees 11.70 crore under Operation Rakht Chandan. Red sandals is a flora species that is endemic to distinct tract of forests in Eastern Ghats region of Andhra Pradesh, falling under the endangered list of IUCN. Moving on. It is also listed as Appendix 2nd of the CITES Convention on Wildlife, Fauna and Flora, and the export of red sandals from India is prohibited as per the foreign trade policy. Moving on. Unicorns are privately held venture capital backed startups that have reached a value of, the correct answer is $1 billion India has reached a landmark figure of 100 unicorns with a valuation of more than $300 billion. Unicorns are privately held venture capital-backed startups that have reached a value of $1 billion. The valuation of unicorn is not expressly linked to their current financial performance, but largely on the growth potential as perceived by investors and venture capitalists. According to Invest India, the year 2020 and 2019 saw the birth of the maximum number of unicorns with 44, 11 and 7 coming each year respectively. Consider the following statements about Prime Minister's Employment Guarantee Scheme. It facilitates employment opportunities for unemployed youth by assisting in setting up of micro enterprises in the farm sector. KVIC is the nodal agency for it. So we have to select the correct statement or statement. Second statement is correct. B is the correct answer. The PMEGP has been approved for continuation over the 15th Finance Commission cycle for 5 years from 21-22 to 25-26. Ministry of MSME is implementing the scheme, and the scheme facilitates generation of employment for unemployed youth by assisting in setting up of micro enterprises in non-farm sectors. And KVIC is the national level nodal agency. All the states and UTs will be covered under the scheme. The difference between total revenue and total expenditure of the government is termed as fiscal deficit. Which of the following item is not included in the total revenue receipts to calculate fiscal deficit? The correct answer is borrowings from RBI. Government may still meet fiscal deficit target according to SBI. The difference between total revenue and total expenditure of the government is termed as fiscal deficit, which is an indication of the total borrowings needed by the government, and a deficit is usually financed through borrowing from either the central bank of the country or raising money from the capital market by issuing different instruments like treasury bills and bonds. While calculating the TR, borrowings are not included, and receipts include tax revenue as well as non-tax revenue. Non-debt capital receipts like recoveries of loans and advances, disinvestment receipts are also a part of the total income of the government. Arrange the following states in descending order of their sugar production for the year 21-22. We have to move from top producing to the bottom producing state. First will be Maharashtra, then Uttar Pradesh, then Karnataka, and then Gujarat. So 3, 1, 2, 4. B is the correct answer. Maharashtra overtook UP to re-emerge as top sugar producer. Both Maharashtra and Karnataka registered record production in this year. Top sugar producing states in the year 21-22 are Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka, and then Gujarat. Moving on, you see the graph. Next, let's move on to the practice question. Kosi river flows through which of the following countries? Bangladesh, China, and Nepal. We have to select the correct answer. That's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated, and thank you so much for watching.